I am Criswell. For years I have told the almost unbelievable, related the unreal, and showed it to be more than a fact. Now I tell a tale of the threshold people, so astounding that some of you may faint. This is a story of those in the twilight time, once human, now monsters, in a void between the living and the dead, a night with the ghouls reborn from the innermost depths of the world.
Guys, hello, and welcome to What Makes It Scary, a seasonal podcast unleashing the fear behind your favorite and not so favorite horror movies. I'm your host, Jody Henderson of Clever Girl Effects Studios, and with me, as always, Alex Vincent of Mr. Red Productions.
Hello, everyone. I've aged 100 years watching these movies.
Why? I think they were
Jody,
gold.
They were gold, that's for sure.
They deserve gold.
There are some movies that we watched for today's episode that I will think about for the rest of my life.
Oh, absolutely.
They stayed with me. I had a huge smile on my face. That was some of the movies. There were other movies that I wanted to be the victims in one of these movies. Because I wouldn't be watching them anymore.
They were the worst horror movies.
Once again, we return.
Special episode 4 every season. It's the worst horror movies.
These are always my favorite and least favorite episodes to do.
It's usually a long ass week.
Yeah. Oh.
And we are usually at each other's throats. We're usually screaming at each other. Like we're literally almost always in a bad mood when this week comes along.
Because we just have to watch these movies.
We have to just sit through them, and that's all sometimes you can do is just sit through them.
You just have to get through it. Sometimes, and you know what's weird? There are times, and I don't know what this is, but there will be times where you're watching a movie that's so bad you would rather be watching nothing at all. How can a movie be so bad as to make you wish that you didn't have this movie
so
playing?
Easy. Yeah.
Well. So we'll talk about them. I'm very excited, and we have a lineup of movies. So do you want to stop beating around the bush? I'm sick of this bush getting beat around.
Ugh. Yeah, we can get started. First of all, it's always asked like how we pick out our movies. Mm-hmm. Some of them have just been ones that we've come across, like
that we know about.
Yeah, that we're like, oh yeah, let's watch this movie, and it ends up being terrible.
Yeah.
Some of them have come from research from previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also reach out and we ask, our different venues of people like, hey, what do you think is the worst horror movie? This year, we also asked our friends kind of what they thought the worst horror movie, like our friends that we actually know in real life.
We got some recs. Now, that's short for recommendations.
Yeah.
It's a time saver.
Just like that explanation.
Thanks.
So...
Yeah.
Are you ready to jump into this?
I'm not, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Just a reminder, in case this is your first episode of Worst Horror Movies, we take our top 8 movies from the year.
Yeah.
Not that have come out this year, but that we've picked for this season.
For this year of the show.
Right. And we pin them off 2 by 2.
2 by 2.
Bracket, and then do it again until we finally end up with one.
Narrow it down.
One worst horror movie.
Yeah, and
2021.
It can get heated. There'll be times where we'll vehemently disagree.
Oh yeah, we're usually very mad at the end of this episode too because we can't agree on anything.
And the other thing is that we really struggle. This is the problem. We try not to talk to each other about our feelings about the movie too strongly. Obviously, if we're enjoying it or it's just pure garbage, it's hard to kind of not say anything. And we'll joke about the movie, but we haven't really talked about like just where we are going to rank these movies together. So
right.
I think we'll be surprised,
we try to save it for right now on the microphone.
Yeah. I still think we're going to be pretty much in agreement on most of these. So we'll see.
We'll see about that. We will see about that.
Okay.
That's a challenge.
All right.
For sure. All right. Do you remember 1997?
I was around.
Were you?
Picture it. Bill Clinton.
No, don't picture Bill Clinton.
What do you mean?
Speaking of 1997,
I know speaking of that.
We don't normally do this type of thing, but I do kind of want to, in case what life has kind of been like right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure if you are a millennial.
Oh, you're going to talk about this?
I am. 1997, I'm 5 years old. What am I watching? Blue's Clues, of course.
Oh, yeah. Blue's Clues.
I'm loving life.
Having a grand old time.
Yeah, I was going to say, Steve's my best friend.
Is he?
Yeah. No, I do remember this one time of, I think my babysitter was over and then my older sister was there. And I think I said I love Steve. And a 5-year-old saying I love Steve.
That's weird.
And of course my sister's like, haha, you love Steve. And I remember not even being ashamed. I was like, yes, I love Steve.
I love Steve.
And I think I was just at that age where I never watched Joe. Did you watch Joe?
Joe, I knew he was around, but no, I don't think I ever watched him. Maybe a little bit, but not too long.
I did not. Once Steve left, I left. I was like, I'm done.
It just felt like a betrayal.
It really did.
Yeah.
It seriously did. I was like, how could you? But I'm like that about everything.
That's true. Yeah, you're very
about absolutely everything. If someone deviates from what we've done in the past, I'm like, how dare you?
Why would you do this?
So I'm sure you've all seen it. Steve's come back for the 25th anniversary.
He's back
Blue's
and he's
Clues.
pissed.
No,
he's
and
not.
he has given this addressing the nation speech of just thanking us and that he never forgot about us. And I
Jody, take deep breaths.
Sobbed.
Yeah.
Watching it.
I am a heartless son of a bitch.
You certainly are.
I was getting choked up watching this. This every time, throughout the day, every time I think about this, I'm just
it's affected me all day long.
Yeah, it's powerful. Steve for president, 2024.
Yeah,
for
now.
Sure.
Just take it now.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. Hand over the keys to the kingdom.
It's just so nice. And I'm I had said last night, it's because we never really heard any rumors about him or
right.
that just gets so ruined for celebrities nowadays because that's kind of what happens.
And hey, we'll talk about some of these movies coming up.
Oh, we certainly will.
We have. And that's where your mental state is
That's where I am at right now.
Literally,
one video wrecked me, and it was Steve from Blue's Clues.
The other night, we were getting ready to watch one of the movies we're going to watch today, and you watched this video on your phone before the movie started.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, and we were going through all that. Then we watched this terrible movie, and then afterwards you went back to watching this video.
I did, and I cried again.
So what a weird sandwich of emotions you had going on.
And I guarantee, I know you're going to do, I'm not going to cry at all on our wedding day.
No.
And you're going to look at me and you're going to be like, I can't believe you bawled at Steve. And you didn't even cry on our wedding day.
You know what? I'll understand. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, 1997.
Yeah. And things that are not happy and nice.
Right. We're going to add another layer to this year of worst horror movies. We're giving the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yes.
I think that's a great idea.
There's some surprises in here, I think.
Okay. 1997, first movie on our list is Anaconda.
This is a classic bad movie.
Yes.
Here's the weird thing, though. This was a classic bad movie before we had things like The Room, before we had things like...
When did The Room come out?
2000, way later than you expect it to. Oh, yeah. Way later than you think
I
it
totally
would.
thought it was like a 90s movie.
No, 2003, I'm going to say. I'm looking it up right now. I believe it's 2003. We have 2003.
Wow.
And that's actually another running theme. Is there a lot of movies
we don't know. You can't pinpoint what time they come out.
Yeah.
This Rotten Tomatoes score for Anaconda is our highest score.
I'm scrolling through. It's our highest one.
Is a 37.
37, which is low. It's not that low.
Right. I'm so happy we started with this movie.
Yeah.
Because
amuse-bouche.
Because I immediately started tearing it apart.
Yeah. We went hard on this movie.
We did.
And then we watched some of the
And then
other
we watched
movies.
other shit, and I was like, oh, well, okay.
I feel like this is a cinematic masterpiece.
Okay. I had never seen an Anaconda.
Mm-hmm.
My Anaconda don't.
Your Anaconda
and my Anaconda don't for this movie either.
My Anaconda don't want none of this movie because it's terrible.
But we got some big fucking names in this movie. We have J-Lo.
Yeah, which, by the way, my phone auto-corrected to J also, which I find...
J also.
J also.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
We have Owen Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Mobius himself.
We have Ice Cube. We have Danny Trejo.
Machete.
We have Eric Stoltz, which you said this is his best.
I said he's the best part of this movie.
Oh, I thought you were saying this was like his best role, which is really funny because spoilers, he's like in a coma for most of it.
Right, he's hardly in the movie. Well, he does give a very captivating performance as Man in Coma.
Absolutely.
I don't think I've seen a single other Eric Stoltz movie besides this. I did see Back to the Future, which he was almost Marty McFly in.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this guy in anything. Mm-hmm. And we also have Jon Voight.
Yeah, Jon Voight, who sucks. Again, talk about celebrities who are canceled. Twin Peaks watch.
Oh God.
None of the people you mentioned. And by the way, I dug deep.
I know, you were freaking out.
Every single other movie,
out that we weren't going to have anything.
Single one. I dug through the IMDb of every one of these actors. The only one I could find was the guy who plays Mateo in this movie. His name is Vincent. His name is Vincent Castellanos, and he was in a few David Lynch things, including Twin Peaks season 3. So I was so relieved when I found this. Jody, I tell you, I found this on his IMDb page right now, sitting on this couch before we hit go to record. I was struggling to find these, and I did. So Twin Peaks watch 2021. I did it. The streak holds true.
Dude, you're gonna get to one of these and it's not gonna come up, and
I was
I'm gonna laugh at you
sweating for this one already. So
okay,
we'll see.
So Anaconda, it's a snake. I don't know if you knew that.
I'm familiar with the concept.
Yeah. My sister used to own a snake.
Yes.
I think that was a boa constrictor, which is different than an anaconda, question mark?
Sure. I don't know.
And it's a big-ass snake.
Big snake. Big Snake, which has, by the way, the opening crawl, the titles of these movies.
Yeah.
This movie, Anaconda is capitalized with an A, like it was a deity, which I was initially going to make fun of, but later they're like the tribes of the Amazon.
They are
do worship these as deities. Yeah. So I was like, well,
we'll strike that. Can't make fun
of
it.
The movie's one step ahead of me. But it starts with.
We also have Jonathan Hyde. I feel like that we didn't mention him.
Yes. Oh, he's in so many things. He's in everything.
He's in Twin Peaks.
He's not, unfortunately.
Is he in like Westworld? Because I feel like he should be.
I think he's in Westworld.
Oh my God, is he?
I don't know. But I'll tell you what he's in. He's in Jumanji.
He's also in Titanic.
He is in Titanic. He's in a lot of stuff. He played Van Pelt's the hunter in Jumanji. He was in The Mummy, which is fun. He's in a lot of stuff. He's in a lot of these things where he's like kind of a that guy character actor.
Oh,
he's
that
like,
guy.
Oh, that guy. He's in stuff. But this movie starts not with any of those people. It starts with Machete himself.
Yes.
On a boat. And already I'm having a great time because the boards of this, like the boards of the planks of the ship.
Of the boat.
It's
a boat. It's not a ship.
Oh, sorry. Are getting beat by this snake, and it's got nails like flying up to the ceiling. The boards are flying. Yeah, it's fun.
Instantly straight up Jaws.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. This movie took everything from Jurassic Park and Jaws.
Except
it took everything.
Quality.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. I think even though down to the music cues is like you can tell they're trying to go for a Jaws thing.
Very much Jaws.
It's not.
Yep. Danny Trejo or Machete or whatever his name is in this movie.
Yeah, who knows? He doesn't have one. He's just a victim.
He's like so scared. He knows what's coming after him. He crawls up onto the mast, whatever the thing is in the middle of the boat.
Yeah,
and kills himself.
He does.
Shoots himself in the head.
Point blank range.
You know what? If I saw a snake this big. I would probably do the same.
This would be you. If I were in Anaconda, I'm putting myself back in these movies.
Good.
If I were in Anaconda, I would simply leave the Amazon.
That's for sure.
The snake is only in one place. It's not after anyone.
You know
it's
what
not Jaws 4 the Revenge.
You know what kind of tainted this movie for us? We just saw Jungle Cruise.
Oh,
which
you know what?
Also takes place in the Amazon.
This is the same movie.
Pretty much.
It's the same movie. They have the wilding out guy trying to like lead them through.
Jon Voight /
Dwayne Johnson. Which have we ever seen them in the same room together? They might be the same person.
Oh my God! Don't insult the Rock. I don't even like the Rock that much, but don't insult the Rock.
Sure. Leading them on this dangerous mission to do some bullshit no one cares about.
Well, J-Lo. I didn't write anybody's character names down.
I'm pretty sure they didn't have any.
Yeah, J-Lo is like a documentary film artist.
Well, I feel like
director.
she is an actor because
she's filming it.
I know that, but like she mentions how this movie is supposed to be her big break.
Yeah, in film.
Yeah, but big breaks only happen for actors and singers.
Shut up. Okay, so and then like Ice Cube is her
brother,
like producer almost. They're not related. She's straight up Mexican.
What?
Or Latino, I should say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Listen, I'll have everyone know
nebulous.
that Alex thought that J-Lo was a Spice Girl.
Oh, yeah.
I will have everyone know. And then he was like, oh, and I laughed audibly. So he's like, oh, well, so then she's from Destiny's Child, right? And then I laughed even harder.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. You don't know. I think you don't know this.
I do know this. What I do know is that the same exact year, 1997, Selena came out, and that's really what took J-Lo's career and lit it on fire.
It really is amazing that she can be in a movie like that and like this and like, you know, go on without suffering any consequences from this movie.
It was like
overshadowed by...
Well, I just don't think, really nobody knew her too much. I mean, she had Jenny from the Block, like, singing stuff, but...
You mean Destiny's Child?
No, Jenny from the Block.
Owen Wilson, who's having a great time in this movie.
He is great in this movie.
I will say this is his least Wilson-y role.
Yeah, I agree with that. He gets very Republican-y at some point.
Does he? Oh yeah,
kinda.
He gets very like, I want to do it my way.
I want to make money.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we won't get into like really the plot because there's not much to it.
Yeah.
Jon Voight's character is basically tricking everybody into going and hunting, and I say hunting loosely because he basically wants to like capture these huge snakes.
Yeah, he wants them live
because then he could sell them for like a lot of money.
Right. I want to talk about his character for a minute because he's doing an accent in this movie, and I am not cool with it.
It's very weird.
It's very weird. It's very strange. He's introduced, by the way. Everybody's on the boat. It is a boat.
It
right?
is a boat.
Okay,
yeah.
great. They're on this boat, and Jon Voight is not a part of this team. They find him on a boat wreck, if you will, and they take him in, and he starts almost immediately
telling people what to do.
Yeah, leading people around, and he's like, "You go." Once Eric Stoltz is out of the way, he just kind of takes over as the captain. It's a little
because they all assume that he just knows what he's doing.
Right, and he does, but he has ulterior motives.
Right.
But it's just very strange to see him just like he's like so ingrained in these people's lives, and they at no point are they like, we should tell him to leave or whatever, because once it gets to the point where he's dangerous, it's like already
I'm going to really show my age, and like I really can't look at Jon Voight without like thinking of Mr. Sir.
You will
from
call
Holes.
me Mr.
You
Sir.
will call me Mr. Sir.
There's an accent. I think of him as National Treasure, Nick Cage's father.
See, I think I've seen that movie twice.
It's great.
But what makes me super happy?
Yeah.
And I mean this just harkens to my personality. I don't like Angelina Jolie. And it just makes me really happy that that's her father.
Oh yeah.
Which is terrible. It's not like Angelina Jolie has done anything
right. And by the way,
to offend me.
You're not referring to any of like the terrible things that Jon Voight has
No.
said
Just
or
that
done.
just that him.
She
just
has to have
that
a father
guy.
who's that guy.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Is her father. Just cracks me up.
But this movie, and this is the last thing we'll say about it before we like move on. The scariest thing that we've seen all season on the show happens in this movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, so before we get into that.
Okay.
So what makes this the worst horror movie, one of the worst horror movies, is that these snakes, like these anacondas, they go from live action or like animatronic
puppets
to then CGI.
Yeah.
They don't look good.
The CGI is terrible. And
CGI is terrible.
The puppets are
pretty good. Yeah.
Like they're not the best, but like they look
I would be
believable.
scared.
Yeah.
I would not go by them.
In like if you were in like a ride at Universal.
Yeah, I definitely. We talk about all the time that I'll be so scared to go to the new raptor enclosure at Jurassic World at Universal, and like my kids are gonna like when I have kids one day, because obviously they're gonna be obsessed with dinosaurs.
Of course,
they're like, "Mom, let's go," and I'm gonna be like, I don't know if I can.
You got to go on without me.
I thought any animatronic dinosaur I'm scared of. Any one of them, and I love dinosaurs.
Yeah,
but like we went to visit your brother in Chicago, and they took us to like. This like tiny little
thing.
and I was like
shaking.
I walk quickly by the ones with the big teeth.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's because you watched Jurassic Park 3 where the one was frozen pretending to be fake and then jumped out. Which is stupid. Not as stupid as this movie.
I just watched that movie. I watched that movie too young, but it's okay because like it made me who I am today.
I guess that's true.
I mean, anytime these snakes show up, they're like screaming.
Yes, these are the loudest snakes.
Which is also very annoying.
I don't know a thing about anything. Snakes don't make sounds like this.
Like they might like
they might rattle. Yeah, they might hiss.
Rattle. They might. Oh yeah, I guess they like.
But they never
screaming
screech like this. Maybe that's a thing and we just don't know.
Maybe like lions roaring, like that's what it sounds like.
Right. It's very strange.
They also kill a goddamn monkey.
That sucks.
A couple of different times.
The humans
don't like that. Yeah.
And use it as bait. It's sad. But Jon Voight has been kind of doing shenanigans. We find out later that he's behind this. He puts a giant wasp in the snorkel of Eric Stoltz's character. This is why he's in a coma. He gets stung in the mouth and his throat closes up and he can't breathe. And they have to give him a tracheotomy.
Yeah, they do a tracheotomy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Very Saw 5.
Yeah.
This movie rips off Saw 5 for sure. But that's scary. Wasp in the mouth. Hate it. I hate wasps. I hate bees.
I know. You don't like anything. You don't like any bug, really.
Yeah, no. Anything that has more than 2 legs, unless it's furry and big enough to be a dog or a cat, I'm fine with.
Okay. I think you need to get your parameters straight here.
All right, sure. I'll work on that.
But so you think that's the worst part. What I think is the worst part is that we get towards the end of this movie and we only have Ice Cube, Jon Voight, and J-Lo left. Eric Stoltz is on the ship, but he's comatose.
He's out of commission.
Is that the big anaconda snake comes.
Yes.
And eats Jon Voight alive.
He eats Jon Voight alive twice.
No, he doesn't re-eat him like I thought he would.
Oh, he doesn't?
No. It says it at the beginning that anacondas are so vicious that they will eat something, vomit it, and then eat it again just to be vindictive. So I thought that was going to happen. I kept looking for it. He doesn't actually go and eat Jon Voight again.
So he vomits him up. He looks disgusting.
Oh, he looks awful. Okay, yeah. So we get an internal view of the snake eating Jon Voight.
This was the grossest thing.
I actually thought that was pretty cool.
It was cool.
But then later on, the snake vomits Jon Voight back up in front of J-Lo. And his body is all pruned already and just like a newborn baby, covered in crap. Looks up at J-Lo and he winks. And then dies.
Yeah, because he winks all throughout the movie. So pretty bad. This movie, like I said, I think that it came out at a time where this was among the worst we had. And so it kind of got this reputation as being a terrible movie.
Well, I think it's because we have such great people in it, and it's still crap.
Yeah, it's a big cast. Like these are big names. So to have it end up like this is a pretty big disappointment. But it was Anaconda, 1997. You know what? It was a good year. Let's stay here.
Yeah, let's stay here because the next movie that we watched was American Werewolf in Paris.
Last season, we talked about American Werewolf in London.
Yes, and what it like truly meant kind of for the cinematic world, the special effects in it.
Oh yeah, they were great. And that was a good movie. We talked about it. It wasn't like our favorite, but it was like pretty good.
It ends abruptly. It's got a wicked soundtrack.
Yeah, and the like you said, the effects, the transformation sequence, out of this world.
Yeah. All those things we love. Let's just fucking take all of them out.
All those out. So that movie came out in 1981, and this movie came out in 97.
Yeah.
So 18 years after the other one. It's possible there were other American Werewolf in X movies, but these are the only 2 I know about. This movie takes place in France. First mistake. This is my first issue with the movie because France.
What's wrong with France?
Oh, nothing if you like fries or toast.
I think France is like the perfect place for a horror movie because of the catacombs.
That's true. Well, they don't really visit them. There are tomb-like places.
Well, that's what I assume. They're like down in the catacombs.
Okay, sure. 7%.
Yes, this has a 7% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Huge step down. There's 30% fewer percentage points than the other one, Anaconda.
We get these 3 dude bros. Americans.
They're
the Americans in the werewolves in Paris. they're having just like a guy's trip, like college age, and they have like
It's very hostile.
This like group. They have like this club where it's like you get points for doing naughty
they
things.
keep getting points in it's very skeezy and everything.
So they break into the Eiffel Tower.
Yes, they do. Which, by the way, I've done this. I was almost in this position. I was in Paris. I was at the Eiffel Tower. What?
Picture it.
I
was in
Paris.
I was in Paris.
2011. I went up to the Eiffel Tower. It was late at night. All the lights were off, and we weren't supposed to go up there and touch it. But all of us as a group did. We went up and we were touching it, and then the sirens kicked on, and the police were coming or whatever.
The police.
They didn't actually show up.
They didn't have guns, and they were just like, "Get out of here,
please leave." They weren't actually coming to get us in trouble. They were just like, put the lights on.
What's going on? Right. What's going on here? Also distant.
I was in this position. It was great. These guys take it a step further, though.
Yes, they go all the way up to the top.
Yeah.
And the one guy, Andy, puts on, he's like, I'm doing it. I'm going to get the most badass points.
He has the least points. He's losing right now.
And he ties on a rope onto his leg. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm bungee jumping off the Eiffel Tower. And they're like, no, he won't do it. His two friends. He won't do it. He'll back out.
Right.
And then they hear somebody coming. So they hide. And this girl is there. She's
a girl.
It's a girl. And she has a note and drops it.
I guess.
And then she jumps over the side of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, she jumps, falling to her death.
Right.
At the same time, we have this guy here who's like, well...
And Andy's just like, well, shit, no, don't go. And jumps immediately after her.
Yeah.
And... of course, the guys, as this rope is unraveling, they're like, oh shit, he didn't tie it off. Dumbass. And then, they hang on to it. He grabs her. She safely plops down onto the ground.
Yeah, they make it so the end of the bungee is right at the ground, so he's able to set her down carefully before he goes shooting back up. I don't know anything about bungee jumping.
This is not how this works.
I'm pretty sure you have to be away from.
This is not bungee jumping.
You have to be far away from the ground.
Yes, very far.
You should never get this close to the ground.
Otherwise, you pull a Gwen Stacy, and nobody likes that.
Why would you say such a thing?
Because it's true.
He is able to grab, because it's Cinderella, he's able to grab a shoe.
He grabs her shoe.
And then he has to return it later.
Right. And so now it's and he gets hurt, kind of ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And now it's oh, we got to find this girl.
Mm-hmm.
They see her at the hospital. She's stealing a heart.
Yeah, which nobody ever questions.
I mean, people do question. They're like, stop her.
Oh, do they?
She's stealing a heart. But then everybody's just in the way or whatever. Yeah. Finally meet up with her. I can't even for the life of me remember her name. It's something crazy French.
Seraphine.
Yeah. And of course Annie's trying to go out with her, and she's like, no, stay away from me. I'm no good. Blah 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 blah. Turns out she's a werewolf. I almost said vampire.
Werewolf. She's a vampire.
That'd be more interesting. No, she's a werewolf.
And
she has a cult of werewolves.
Right. There's this part. There's this this club that they have where they lure American tourists in for a good time, and it's hey, American night. It's the 4th of July. It's you love it. But then they all turn into werewolves. And the thing about this movie is that they have this serum where when they inject it, it boosts the werewolf transformation.
It instantly will turn you into a werewolf.
Yeah. So the thing that people like about werewolves, which is the whole man versus beast thing.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't really care about that. It's
take
just
all that out.
We can just have them be werewolves whenever they want, and it's just fine, and they're just werewolves. I will say this has my favorite character in all these movies is the friend. I think it's Chris. They have very generic names, but this guy, first of all, he's jacked. He's jacked.
And he's got
huge arms.
Classic 90s hair.
He does. But this character is my favorite because not only is you expect this type of character to be really stupid and kind of be one of the first victims.
Yeah.
He's the most capable character in the whole movie.
We said we want to do an escape room with him because he's so clever.
He's locked in a cell. There's a key on the other side of the room. He can't get to it. So what does he do? He takes all of his clothes off, which got to show off the goods.
Yeah.
And he uses it as not a rope, but a kind of thing for him to put under the key. Yeah. And then he knocks it down. Then later, he's getting attacked by a werewolf, and he's able to jump over. He's able to do some shenanigans. Oh, he picks a lock for one thing. Yeah. And then he parkours over and jumps out. He just keeps escaping and getting himself out of these situations.
He's also on a crucifix later and just runs out of there with a crucifix on him.
Right.
Talk about being jacked.
Yeah, that's a lot of strength.
Talk about being Jesus. No.
So this is my favorite character. Also, we didn't recognize this person at the time because she looks very different. Also, it's way earlier. But the American woman
that he kills.
That
Andy kills because he turns into a werewolf, of course,
yeah.
and now it's just like American Werewolf in London,
right, where he's going through all this.
Yeah,
he meets at a bar this blonde American who's really excited to see another American, and they kind of like go to a graveyard as like a date. Yeah, well, she is Claire Dunphy from Modern Family.
Oh my god!
I know.
That's
I did
really
not
funny.
recognize her at all.
No,
I'm pretty sure that's his character. Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, that's her.
Yeah. I never would have guessed that.
Me neither. When I was looking for the Twin Peaks connection, I was like, no. So that was fun. This movie. So the biggest problem with this movie is that it's hard
nobody
to describe. Well, it's hard.
Nobody the plot is just, like
right.
Nobody cares. And there's no really good characters.
Yeah. But it's hard to describe what is so bad about this one because when you describe the events of it, there's some ridiculous stuff, but it's not terrible.
No.
It's just the way the movie feels. It's just way too, like, the acting's bad. None of the actors are good in this. Right. Except Chris.
Is he even acting well,
no.
or is he just doing things that you think are cool?
Yeah, he's probably that one. The editing is terrible. The directing, it's just so scattered and just awkward.
The CGI werewolves
are
the worst.
Oh, it's awful. It's so... And you can have like a good movie with bad CGI. Doctor Who is not a movie, but it's got a ton of...
It's not a movie.
ton of great episodes of terrible, like the worst CGI.
I agree. I will forgive bad CGI if I really like the movie.
Right, but if you don't like the movie, it really stands out.
It just adds to it. Yeah. You're just like, and of course, it looks like crap.
So,
especially like werewolves are supposed to be so scary and like badass, and these look like, I don't even know, just like bad video game.
It really does look like it's a PlayStation 1. And yeah, you really have to feel the threat of a thing, and the more it's physically exists, the scarier it is. If you think it's not real because it's a CGI monstrosity, it's not really going to do anything.
It's not even like, this is supposed to be like a horror comedy, blah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like the only funny part is this one like big shtick where like he doesn't want to have sex with this girl, but he does, but he doesn't want to be like too forward, so she's like calling him out. And he just like his friends gave him all these condoms and they like fall out of his bag. And he thinks that he like tries to play it off like, oh no, this is what chewing gum looks like in America. And
right.
Like,
he puts it in his mouth. He just
immediately puts it in his mouth. So he's like chewing on this gun. And she's like, I want you to blow a bubble.
She makes him blow a bubble. Yeah.
And it's just like blowing up this condom. Like that's the funniest part to me.
And then he like lets go and it goes flying.
It's like cartoonish.
Yeah. And it lands in someone's soup, which this has to have been CGI. Like that had to have been CGI.
Yeah.
But like it looked pretty good, at least that part. So
but like that was the only part that I was like, what?
Yeah.
Of course they break the spell. They kill the master werewolf.
Oh
and
god.
Eat his heart.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about if you kill the werewolf that turned you into a werewolf, then you stop being one, which was that in the London one? I don't think it was.
It wasn't. It just had the whole like the people you kill walk the earth until you're killed. Yeah.
This movie had that too, but they were so annoying because it was Claire Dunphy, but she's the most annoying character of all time in this movie. So this movie sucks. How much does it suck in comparison to Anaconda? I'll let you go first on this one.
They are pretty even.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the rule of like which one would I want to watch? Like if someone was like, these are the two movies that you have to choose from, I would pick Anaconda.
You would pick it to watch?
Yeah.
Oh no.
No. Are you serious? You would watch American Werewolf in Paris? I never want to watch that movie again.
Yeah. I mean, I
never need to.
Yeah, but Anaconda was like, not only was it bad, it was boring.
See, that's how I feel like American Werewolf in Paris was. Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
I didn't think we were going to have this problem.
All right. We are already starting off strong. I just feel like this movie, like you said, it's meant to be a horror comedy, and it's...
What, Anaconda?
No.
American Werewolf
in Paris. And, you know, it's not very funny, but I think it's, like, at least fun. It moves in a way that Anaconda doesn't. There's always something going on.
No. See, I just think there's it's like so many down points, and it's like, just come on, bring the werewolves back.
You like Paris, though.
I've never been to Paris.
Yeah, but you like it.
Well, I also like the rainforest.
All right. Well,
Alex, You can look at these people in this movie. It's a better movie. Anaconda's a better movie. Even the percentage says so.
That's
I'm going to use this against everything.
Wait, so are we saying what movie we think needs to go that we need to watch again? Oh.
Yeah,
I'm getting confused again.
Yeah.
Okay, I still do think the Anaconda is worse.
You think it's a worse horror movie?
It's a worse experience watching it.
Okay, that's not my question. Which is the worst of these two? Which one is a worse horror movie?
I was also more scared watching Anaconda because of that goddamn wasp. But
there you go.
Well, then
that makes it better.
That means it better. So yes.
So which one's moving forward into the next round?
I'll say American Werewolf in Paris.
Correct.
Although I do think I enjoyed it better than Anaconda.
I don't see how. I do remember us watching Anaconda and we just kept going, bring on the snakes.
Yeah, where are the snakes? At least in the werewolf movie.
When we got them, I could actually tell they were snakes.
Yeah, that's true.
Unlike the werewolves, I went, what is that?
They were pretty messy. Yeah. All right. I'll accept
Round
it.
1. Jody wins.
We're already tensions rising.
Yeah, Jody wins. Ding, ding, ding.
By the way, it's not you versus me
yes,
here.
It is. American Werewolf in Paris will advance to the next round.
What also will advance? One of these two movies.
Yes, we're moving on to round 2. This one, I know you're immediately going to get mad no matter which one I mention first.
Oh, no.
So we will start with Smiley.
Oh,
2012.
Oh, God, Jody.
17% on Rotten
it's
Tomatoes.
Too high.
I agree.
Too high. This movie. So, all right. Let me give you some background here. I watched this movie previous to this, long before this. I watched this. A friend of mine showed it to me because
this friend you have mentioned.
Yeah, a few times.
A few times already this season.
I'll name him Tyler. Hello.
Tyler.
Because he was getting me into YouTube like several years ago, and he was like, "Here's some famous YouTubers, blah blah blah. Hey, this YouTuber Shane Dawson, ew.
Fuck you, Shane Dawson.
Seriously, this guy sucks. He is in this movie. It's kind of a YouTube movie. It's almost not a real movie, but it is. Like, it was distributed. It's a real movie. And we should watch it together because it's good at the time. I don't know how he feels about it now, but I watched it and it wasn't. I didn't think that it was that bad at the time. It's like, how when you're uncomfortable and you don't realize it for a while and you don't really know why you're uncomfortable, and then you realize that you're just like sitting on something bad or like something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, you know what? This actually sucks. It was kind of like that, where you're like struggling to be comfortable watching this movie.
So that was your first time watching it?
Yes. Then we watched it for this. And I remember.
I agree. I had never seen it.
Yeah.
I knew what Smiley was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, that looks scary.
Yeah, visually.
And I had never even heard the concept of like what Smiley is or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate with a burning passion these like chain letter things.
Yeah.
We talked about it last episode in The Ring. And like this and the next movie, which I won't mention yet, are kind of the same thing. And I hate it because it's scary.
It is scary. You're right.
So it has that working for it.
Things that do this, I think it's just immediately, there's something about it that just gets in your thing where if you don't do this, something bad, or if you do this, it'll spread on to somebody else. But we sat down to watch it again for this, and I remembered it being not that bad. So I thought, oh, it'll be all right. It'll be like not that bad a movie. I tell you,
immediately started, and you were like, no.
Yeah, let me see. Did I write anything down for the very beginning?
It literally took like 1 minute, and you were like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'd say like maybe in the first like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
By the time it got into it.
Yeah.
Because just like everything about this movie is so fundamentally flawed. Just like the scene compositions. Like it doesn't look like a real movie. The way characters talk, none of the actors are good. Again, it's another like none of the actors are good.
I don't even know if it's the writing. I think it's like 70% writing, and 30% not super talented actors.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Although I will say that some of the adult actors do a pretty good job. We have Roger Bart, who I was looking through his IMDb. I couldn't find really anything that I had seen him in.
Who does he play?
He was the professor, the dark-haired one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I thought he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did a great job. Again, the writing for his character, I was like laughing. Anyway, let's get kind of into it because people probably have never seen this. So like,
well, it's a college. It's all about college, and it's about these. I don't know. Well, there's a twist at the end, but before then, we have a urban legend where if you are in a random chat with a video chat
with a stranger,
and you type in, "I did it for the lulz," which. Already, I'm angry.
Yeah, that makes me just immediately I'm all
irate.
Right.
Yeah, we're memeing at this point. Yep. 3 times.
Not scaring anybody.
Yeah. You have to do that 3 times, and then Smiley, this character, will show up there and kill them. Now, this concept I think is all right. Obviously, not the I did it for the lulz.
It's very Bloody Mary. It's very The Ring. It's very Candyman.
Yep. But the idea and the fact that it's seemingly paranormal in that, he doesn't show up like
he
the
just,
door.
Like
he just is there.
Is there, yeah.
And he can be anywhere in the world, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
I this kind of stuff works for me. I think that's scary.
Yeah, the concept is very scary. Yeah. And even the character, Smiley, is like this sewn together face.
Yeah, in a smiley emoticon kind of thing.
And it's scary.
Yeah, it's a disturbing. Like the poster is good,
and the fact that like he could like see you and like waves like is scary. Mm-hmm. What's not fucking scary is our main character and how bad she is at just everything.
Yeah, she's not very competent. She's going off to college and she's excited for the college lifestyle.
I get to do what I want. I'm in college.
But she's very much a good girl, so she doesn't realize it yet. She has this
roommate.
Proxy.
Is that her name? I never could understand what they were saying.
Yes, because they were saying something that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Her name is Proxy.
Right. She's a hoe.
Okay, John.
A hoe. A hoe type character.
A hotel is what she is.
And she's part of this group of like 4chan.
Oh God.
Hipster people who don't use their real names and like only talk on the internet and go to what do they call those things? Group chats.
I don't know.
Like message boards and
like 4chan.
I don't know what 4chan is.
It's a website. Okay. They talk about the B board, which there's just some things that you never talk about
in real. It's the backboard of a basketball, right?
Well, no, it's also the B board on 4chan.
No, it's a B board. It's a
okay,
backboard.
Great. Well, it's one of those.
That's
things.
where you want to hit it to get it in the hoop. Anyway,
sports. There's some things that don't translate to like real conversation between people, and anything about 4chan is one of those things.
Yeah.
Like you just can't talk about it and be taken seriously. It just sounds ridiculous, which it is, but it's not very real. Anyway, they go to this party, which is hosted by Zane.
First, dumb name.
It's a dumb name. Now, Zane is a trip. He might be my favorite character in this movie.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch. He probably sucks too, I'm sure. I don't know this actor at all, but
I feel like I've seen him in some stuff.
Yeah, he looks familiar. His first line of dialogue is like noticing the main character looking at some of his books, which are about the occult and everything, and he's like, "So, are you interested in the strange?" And I want to vomit watching this movie. I know, because it's just like,
what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. And then they drop the R word repeatedly in this scene, which I don't like that either. But Shane Dawson loves it because this is his whole thing.
He doesn't.
Because he sucks. No, he doesn't say it in this movie.
He doesn't say it.
In real life, he does. So, yeah.
First of all, let's stop here at Shane Dawson.
Oh, my God, Shane Dawson in this movie.
And how stupid his hair is.
This was just his hair.
And
this is what he looked like.
I didn't know that, but I know that like in 2012.
Yeah, this was the Bieber look.
The Biebs was a rockin'.
God, I will say, my favorite. This movie is good. This movie is perfect because it gives Shane Dawson acting like a loser nerd getting like bullied, and people are throwing stuff at him, and he has to act like this spindly little whiny twerp,
and then he gets fucking killed.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
Watching him like pretend to be this loser and get things thrown at him gives me fuel.
So
life.
So basically, our main character like gets caught up in this and tests the I did it for the lulz theory.
Because it's just peer pressure by proxy. Proxy pressure.
Approximate pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, and it happens. Whoever she's chatting with gets killed by Smiley. I don't know how they pulled that off.
You best not think about it too much.
And then she's like just absolutely paranoid that Smiley's going to come for her.
Because apparently this is a part of it where if you sick him on somebody, he then comes for you. We haven't really...
Nobody ever even said that. She kind of like made that up and then it just like came to fruition.
Yeah.
So she has at least 5 hallucinations.
Oh my
or
God.
dreams that Smiley's coming to get her, and at the end of every single one, she is sitting up in bed and
she
like
wakes
screaming.
Up. Yeah, and I think some of those are meant to be nebulous. Like, did it really happen? Yeah. And she just fell asleep or like, passed out or whatever.
Every time we're just like, and she wakes up now.
Yep,
like,
and it's like clockwork. You set your clock to it. It was ridiculous, and we started calling it out and predicting it, and it was.
She's
awful.
Also, because she's in college, is taking this.
It's like a biology
theory.
It's like an evolutionary
relativity
anthropology.
No, it's like
philosophy.
Yeah, kinda. There's a fucking word for it, and I don't know what it is. And it's the professor.
Yeah, but she's fun. Roger Bart, and he in this movie, oh my god,
it gets way too existential.
Way too existential.
Yeah.
Now, all the stuff that he says and all the stuff that he talks, if it were just the scenes of the lecture, I would love this because
it would be interesting because he's like, everyone is the internet, and the internet connects everything, and blah 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 blah, blah. It's even worse. Like, it's worse than what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it's just, and it's all like, whoa. So she's like, it could all be connected, and like my worst fears could actually be happening.
And they talk about how there is like evolution of how humans evolved, and what if humans are just a stepping stone for some other like type of thing to emerge in the future. And again, I think all of this is great. It has no business being anywhere near this movie.
Right.
It is way too much for what this movie's trying to do.
She then goes to a therapist, which is Paris.
Yes.
From Gilmore Girls.
Right. This was a blast.
Which was really funny. I mean, and her character is just nothing. It's just like saying that she's trying to get help.
Yeah. She does not know what movie she's in, by the way. She gives it
too hard.
Yeah. She's like acting. She's like capital A
She's
acting.
Probably the best actor.
She might be
in this movie.
Like if you were to take all the shots
Paris.
of her, if you were to take all the shots of her and like put it out, like break it into a YouTube video, you'd think, oh, this is from a movie that's like a boring like a real movie.
Yeah,
but you would not know that it's from Smiley 2012.
Okay, so like what I think makes this. Let's get into what makes this a worst horror movie.
Oh God, everything. Shane Dawson and everything.
Oh yeah, but for me, the thing that made me go, okay, I'm officially not invested anymore in this movie, was the scene where she has with her college professor. And I don't even fucking remember what he says, but I feel like at the end of it, he's just like, and I don't care about anything.
Right.
He's like, I don't care what's happening to you. Nothing fucking matters. Blah, blah. And I'm just like, you're giving up on this movie. I want to give up on this movie.
Yeah.
And then, like, the whole ending.
Oh, which is... right out of Scream. Because they are getting up to it. She eventually tells Proxy, because they're over a chat thing. She tells Proxy, hey, I want to end this. Send Smiley to me. Like, sick him on me so I can kill him.
Yeah.
Which... in what world does she think that she'd be able to do this if he is a supernatural creature? So this happens where she does that. She sicks Smiley on her. She's all nervous. She's scared. The doorbell rings. She does not think twice. She shoots through the door. It's Shane Dawson.
Thank
Again,
God.
I'm thriving. I love this. I wish that it was method acting and they actually shot him. They didn't. But Smiley does show up. There's some shenanigans that happen. She ends up dying by jumping out
herself out a window.
Yeah. And we also see multiple Smiley show up chasing after her.
Right.
And so they're all converging and she's like, oh, that's scary. Then they end up taking off their masks and it's basically every single character that we've met.
Everyone from the 4chan group.
Zane, even Shane Dawson is in on it. He's alive. He gives this disgusting thing where he sticks his finger in the neck slit because a Smiley showed up and slit his throat even after he was shot. Didn't say that. Right. It's fine. But then they talk about how Smiley will live on forever like... He says we're like sliced bread or chocolate rain or something.
Purple rain.
Chocolate rain. which this is a song that was a big YouTube meme in 2007. So it was already...
I remember Chocolate Rain, though.
Yeah, but it was already dated when this movie came out.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not even making, like, a reference that's cool. Like...
But everyone knows it.
Yeah,
Chocolate Rain.
Yeah, Chocolate Rain.
Chocolate Rain.
Chocolate Rain. So...
This movie sucks.
This movie sucks. This movie made me angry, and the more I thought about it, the more angry I got.
You did. Days later, you came in and you're like, you know what? And then you would just go off about something about Smiley, and I'm just like, I know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another movie.
I was
going to
say, let's talk about something
did we say
else.
The Rotten Tomato score?
Yes, we did. It is 17.
17%. Oh, yeah, because it's too high.
But let's move on to another movie that just made you absolutely furious.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Slender Man. 2018.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes score of 8%. Pretty accurate.
So Slender Man as a character, I love.
Yeah.
When Slender Man first came out, and I was an early adopter, as they say.
You are not scared of anything.
Right. Not
and
these
you
days.
Were scared of Slender Man.
This was one of my big phobias for a while. It freaked me out. And I was younger. When Slender Man came out, I would say I was about 15 when he first debuted. So, and I was susceptible to it. And I was only seeing the stuff that it's on YouTube. It's found footage, like Marble Hornets, that kind of thing. This stuff is gritty. It is dark. It feels real, and it's very easy to understand why people would be scared of something like this. When you have a very polished, like high budget, major motion picture, a lot of that gets stripped away.
All the fear out of it.
It becomes very cookie cutter, and then you add on the fact that the movie is just bad. It makes for a really bad time and makes me angry that this character deserves so much better. I mean, he doesn't deserve it because he's a bad guy, but I want so much better for this character.
We could have had so much better.
And I think it's doable. It's not easy with this character because by definition, he doesn't really do much.
Right.
But it's possible to write a story about these. I mean, so there have been tons of like found footage series that have done it, that have made stories, compelling stories about this character. This movie is not compelling.
For those who haven't seen Slender Man, the movie.
You'd include us in that because we didn't see it either because the movie's so goddamn dark.
It's so dark.
Every single shot is like so desaturated.
We were watching it, I mean, in the middle of the day.
It's true.
But I even think if we were watching it at night in a dark room, wouldn't see anything.
If I were on my phone under my covers, full brightness, it would look the same because it was just so dark. Even the scenes that took place in brightly lit area, like public area, like the school,
like libraries,
libraries,
were super dark.
It was like you couldn't see what was happening on screen, which was probably good because nothing cool was happening on screen.
Yeah,
but it was very frustrating. I will say they do some stuff interesting, like they do a lot of hallucination stuff with the characters, not the same way that Smiley does,
right?
But like,
so it is similar into where like this group of girls goes and finds this video.
Mm-hmm. It's very The Ring.
Do they even call it Slender Man?
Yeah.
Do they say Slender Man in the movie?
Do they? I don't know.
I think they just say him.
Yeah. This is kind of a thing.
Now, what if it was like him from Powerpuff Girls?
Ooh, that'd be scary.
Now, that would be scary.
That'd be terrifying. This is kind of a thing from all the other fiction, too, like Marble Hornets and everything. They never really refer to him as Slender Man because it's kind of like a meme almost. It's kind of like, it's too iconic.
Right.
Like in Marble Hornets, they call him the Operator. And in other things, they just call him like the Thing or the Entity or it or whatever. They never really like refer to it. So
see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so like it's like if you watch this video,
which is it just has a lot of creepy imagery. It's got these 3 bells that toll.
Yeah, and you have to like close your eyes at the first bell, and you have to open your heart at the second bell, and then the third bell. Just a bunch of bullshit.
Some nonsense, yeah.
These girls do it, and then like the next day they start getting picked off one by one. Like one completely just goes missing.
Yeah,
like she's just gone, straight
up gone. She like stares into the forest, which this is a good visual of her like looking into this big open forest because you're kind of like looking for him, and you're like, ooh, where is he? Because that really is the thing about a lot of these Slender Man things is like. He's supposed to always be there, and you can like find him and pick him out and be like, "Ooh, there he is, creepy." They don't really do that a lot in this movie, as much as they should.
Yeah, they should do that more because that would make it really cool. But then, like the next girl, she like is almost like driven insane, almost zombie-like.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the last two girls are just fighting and trying anything to get away from his traps. They've sacrificed stuff. It just never
meanders.
Comes together.
Right, nothing really happens in the movie. Also, it's really hard to tell which one of them is the main character. Because I think
that's fine. That doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, bothers me, and I never thought I would ever say this. I'm like, there's no guys in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like one boy who could be like considered one of the main characters' boyfriends.
Right.
But like, I like to have like a mix of people.
Right.
It's very boring when it's just all girls, and it's very boring when it's just all guys. Like,
yeah. Have a mix. But yeah, this movie, none of the characters are anything. Like, all these characters, there's nothing characters. And it's just a boring movie that just is slow. And I'm angry about it because of how it just gets this character so wrong and does it so dirty. But I gotta say, like, as a film, it's at least put together in a way that Smiley just isn't. Smiley just is not. I'm
not making fun of the actors like I am in Smiley.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
Like, I am making fun of the lead character in, what is her name? Ashley?
I think so. It's something like that.
In
it's
Smiley, because I'm like, I do not take you seriously.
Yeah. What is to take seriously?
Yeah.
Right.
So you're right about that. Are we ready to pair these against each other?
I think so. I know what my answer is.
I agree with you. I think
Smiley is worse and
Smiley
needs to move on
worse.
in this list.
Yeah.
Slender Man is not a good movie. I'm very disappointed in it, but it's more like the oh, that's a bummer. Oh well, I'll move on. Smiley is like, I will make it my life's work
to make sure that you never see the light of day.
to stop this movie from being propagated, which of course means it has to go on in this list.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. And you agree?
I completely agree.
Good. I'm so glad.
Round two goes to Smiley.
Ding, ding, ding.
Round three. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Are you ready to rumble?
I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited to talk about this next one.
Mm-hmm.
I want one of our listeners to cut a file of me saying I'm very excited. Like,
yes.
Just how many times I say it.
I'm sure it's a lot.
But this one, this film, I've never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Holds honestly like a seriously special place in my heart.
In your hair?
In my hair. In the haar.
In the haar.
It's The Gallows.
The Gallows.
2015.
Now, you and I had not seen this movie.
I had never even heard of this movie.
Me neither.
It has a 14% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is highly incorrect.
I have one note about this movie.
Okay.
Not that bad.
Oh, well, seriously.
That's my note. So, this is funny because a week before we started doing this episode, Tyler, my friend, had a bachelor party because he's getting married. Go Tyler! Congratulations.
Good for him.
Yeah, Mazel Tov. And we were talking in the drive what everyone's favorite horror movies are, and everybody was giving answers like, The Exorcist, Blair Witch Project, this kind of thing. Tyler said The Gallows, which until he mentioned this, I had never heard of this movie.
I had never heard of it. Nope.
And
actually, what I thought he had meant was like The Shallows with like Blake Lively.
Blake Lively.
And I was like, all
really?
right.
Yeah. So I was surprised because you and I are avid horror fans. We've seen quite a number of horror movies at this point.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of this movie. So I was surprised. He described it as they do the Crucible.
Yeah.
Which is pretty accurate.
Which immediately got me on board.
Yeah. And somebody gets really hanged. And so I was like, I've never heard of this. I'll check it out. And then we started doing research for this worst horror movies episode. And this was on people's
lists.
And you know what? I'm really surprised by it.
Me too. People just need to get off their fucking high horse. This is a good movie.
Maybe it's not like the best movie ever, but like it really just does what it wants to do, and it does a good job at it. Like all the actors do a good job, unless they're acting bad, because that's the point.
Right. I'm gonna get into why this makes it so special to me.
Yeah, please do.
I, for a couple of years, ran a theater department in a high school.
My high school.
Yeah, you're old, not when you were in it, but and my first production, how I fell into this job was because someone who had the job auditioned and cast the show for The Crucible and then dropped out. And they're like, will you come and do it?
To you.
to me. And I had directed some shows before. How old was I? Like 22, 23?
Something like that.
Something like that. So I like just had graduated high school-ish. And so I was like, hell yeah, I'll do it. That sounds like an awesome time. I didn't have a job at the time. So
doing great for yourself.
So I got there. One of my best friends, Allie, was my assistant director. And like, we fucking whipped that show into shape.
Yeah.
And it's like one of my greatest accomplishments in life.
You have a lot of fond memories of that time.
I do. Those kids worked their asses off. The Crucible is not an easy show to, one, be entertained by, and two, to just like put your heart and soul and emotions into at a high school level.
Right. If you're an actor, you could do it.
But like these kids, and a lot of these kids had like never been on the stage before, but like we worked with them endlessly about like what your character development is, what's going on at the time, how would you actually feel. Like we worked those kids to the bone.
Nice.
And it was awesome.
And it was a great performance.
I was so happy with it.
Yeah.
And then even like the following year that I had kids join theater saying, we watched The Crucible and it was so good, we wanted to become a part of theater. Like that's the biggest compliment I think I've ever gotten.
For sure, yeah.
And these were like football kids.
Well, and the reason for that is because your lead.
Yeah, my lead, who was dating like another girl in the cast.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a John Proctor. Like the kid who had been cast to him like dropped out or whatever. And I was like, I don't have a John Proctor for this show, those of you who've never read or seen The Crucible is the main character.
Right.
And so her boyfriend just came and I was like, Will, read the script for me. And he did it. And we like, I think everybody was just like astounded. We're like, all right, we got a John Proctor. Let's go. He's phenomenal. Will's one of my favorite people that I've ever really worked with. So, and he was a football player, which was really cool.
Right. So
the Gallows.
The Gallows. It's not about the Crucible. It's about a show called the Gallows, but it's essentially the Crucible.
It's someone being hanged for crimes, and it's in New England times,
witchy kind of Salem-y times. We don't really get a lot of details about the show. They just know that he did like they mentioned like adultery and stuff, so it's like normal stuff. It's not witchcraft, but. They go to hang this guy, and the kid who plays him gets up on the gallows. This is a thing that we see.
Right, this is like the ending of the show. Someone's in the audience filming it.
This movie's a found footage, by the way.
Yeah, mom and dad are talking in the background where they're going to go eat afterwards.
Oh my god, these are so annoying because this is going to be.
It immediately
both of us
lit me up. I was like, "Fucking shut up!"
This is going to be on this recording forever. You talking about like, oh what? They even say like. Oh, what do you think they're going to do for the spring play? Shut up!
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Let the fall play finish.
Right. So it comes to the ending. The guy's up on the gallows, rope around his neck, and the guy's reading what his crimes are. Boom! All of a sudden, like the floor drops out from under him, and he's like, the kid is hanged.
Yeah. And
his neck must have just instantly snapped.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
Because if he was just suffocating, they would have been there instantly. Like everyone's immediately runs over and is like, "Oh my god, Charlie, are you okay?"
Yeah.
And the audience is going insane and whatever.
Right.
No, the kid dies.
Yeah, he's dead.
I can't. Like, I mean, it's enough to like.
This is horrifying. No, yeah. This is a nightmare. So then we cut to 20 years later. It's now modern times, almost 10 years ago at this point. Jesus. But they're putting on it. So it's a 20th anniversary. It's the night before the 20th anniversary of the show.
Of the Gallows.
That the thing happened.
So they're redoing the show.
They're putting it out.
Fucking again. Why?
Why? Who? Like, we know that Pfeiffer, who's the lead actress in this, is like the one putting it on and like pushing for it.
Right.
But who wouldn't be stopping her and be like, we're obviously not doing this?
Why is the professor like not he's
professor,
so the teacher, is like the approximate age of what they would have been like
at the time. He would have been a kid.
Yeah, he would have been like in this had he went to this high school.
Right. So it's
no.
Right. No. It's absurd.
Right.
But it's a conceit of the movie.
But they're doing it like Pfeiffer, like you said, is like almost like the assistant director and the lead.
She's really just the driving
I'm
force.
also offended. You like she said one thing and you're like, oh look, there's Jody. Like that's what I was. It was what I was.
Okay, well, great. And then you can't be offended.
I'm still offended.
As soon as this character is introduced, I'm like, oh, there's Jody. because she's very you.
Listen, I just had my shit together.
Yes. So
and theater was very important.
Right. It's essentially, this movie is High School Musical because you have the lead actor in the show is also a jock. He's a football star.
This is like a class putting this on, so it's like for a grade almost.
Yeah, it's not
just like, hey, come and join theater.
Yeah.
No, it's a grade. So like the lead he's a football player. He's not really good at the lines, and
he's really struggling to remember them, and he's like working hard. He's really working hard. But he has a friend, Kyle,
Ryan.
By the way, his name's Ryan. The main character's name is Reese.
Yeah.
Don't have 2 R names. It's confusing.
I agree.
Don't have 2 R names.
Don't have a Pfeiffer. That's a crazy name.
What is it? Michelle? No, it's not.
Pfeiffer.
It's Pfeiffer. But Ryan, his friend, is the worst character.
He's like a stage manager type guy.
Yeah, he's a dude, bro. He's a jerk. He's a bully.
He's you wandering around the theater with a camera.
I resent that very much.
That's what you did, though.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You did
I was
that.
I was a camera guy,
you did that.
But I was not like this. This is, I think this, and this, I do kind of agree with a lot of people when they say this is a bad movie, strictly because of this character. Because
that's not the character's fault.
Well, it's the character's fault, yes. It's not the movie's fault.
It's not the actor's fault.
Right. No. The actor does a good job with it. But this is like an exercise in writing the worst character you can think of because he's so annoying. He's so awful.
He's a douche, yeah.
Yeah. And we won't get too into this movie. Essentially, it's like the night before. Ryan wants to get his friend Reese out of doing the show, so he says, "Let's sneak in after hours and we'll destroy the set." And so that's the whole movie, is them doing that. They get locked in. Pfeiffer shows up. She's like, "I saw your car out there." She gets locked in too. And then all this shenanigans are going on where it's like paranormal, like the gallows they destroy but gets built
again.
It
straight up turns into paranormal activity at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they have the cast photo from the 1993 version of the Gallows, and like on the back of it has like the cast list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so like apparently it comes out because this newsreel is playing that like the guy who died, Charlie, wasn't even supposed to play August, who was the main character.
He was the understudy.
He was an understudy. And the guy who played August, who backed out
at the last minute
the day before, was Reese.
Is his father.
Dad.
Yeah. Which, how does he not know that? How is this not
Why
known?
did his dad not say anything? If my kid was doing a show that I was supposed to do in high school and some kid died doing it, there's no way I would, 1, be quiet about it.
Right.
2, let that happen.
Absolutely not. No. There is a scene with his father and they're arguing about the show.
And you can hear him say, like, "I don't think you should do this show."
Right.
But you shouldn't quit.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's very weird.
He's like, "I didn't raise a quitter, but I really don't think you should do this show."
Right. Very
so
conflicting.
it's like, you're already like confused. This is before all this happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like revenge against him. It's like sins of the father kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like Charlie is mad. And then there's a twist where we find out that Pfeiffer is behind everything. She's like in on it. And she's putting the show on because...
Okay, so...
we kind of had some thoughts about this.
Okay, so here's my theory.
Yeah.
Earlier, there's this lady... like Ryan's, videotaping everything. He like shows that all these theater moms are there all the time.
There's a woman in the audience.
And he's like, "I don't even think she has a kid that goes here."
Right.
And she like talks to him. Turns out that was Charlie's girlfriend.
Right. And she was in the show.
Who was also in the show. So she was there when like all of this happened back in 1993.
Yeah.
So then
we learned that that's Pfeiffer's mom.
Is Pfeiffer's mom. Now I said that, does that mean that that's Charlie's daughter? Because like, what, was she pregnant at the time, like right before he died?
I don't think so.
And I don't think so, because it's 20 years later.
Right.
She would be 20 years old.
Right. And she's like 16.
Yeah.
17.
So I don't think that's what that is. But but the way that it plays out, because we like see Charlie's ghost and he like connects with Pfeiffer.
Yeah. And they're clearly working together on this.
Yeah. That's a really, and I know people are like, "Oh, the ending is fucking stupid."
Right.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Well, in the very ending, because it like kind of breaks away from the school thing and it goes to Pfeiffer's house, and the police show up, and it's like Pfeiffer and the mom, and they're just acting weird, and then they get got by the thing. It's a jump scare ending, but it's just confusing because you're right. What is their relationship to Charlie? Obviously, the mother liked him because they were together, but it's confusing. But overall, not a bad movie.
The aesthetics in this thing, like, I remember walking through a dark theater and how fucking scary it is.
How cool it is.
No, it's scary.
Yeah.
Every time. I don't care what theater it is. I don't like walking through it. And I've been in many theaters.
That's true.
And so, like, when I watch this, I wish I knew this movie existed when we did The Crucible. I would have made my students watch it.
Oh, boy.
And they would have been terrified.
Everybody would have quit.
They seriously would have been like,
why are we doing this?
They would have been like, Jody, I can't.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I can't either.
Yeah, none of us can. We're
Let's
out.
Go home.
But yeah, we both have a lot of nostalgia for like this whole scene, this whole setup. We like this movie. Right. And even like putting all our personal stuff aside, I just think it's good. I think it's like well made.
I'm scared. It was the only movie that I was actually scared of.
Yes, it had some very tense moments. I will say that the biggest knocks against it are the ending, how confusing it kind of is, and this Ryan character because he just sucks so much. But
you know what? Fucking kids in high school suck.
That's true. It's very accurate. People acted like this, and I will say that the writing and the acting in this was very accurate to like at least my high school experience. This is what kids were like.
Oh yeah.
So I thought it was really good.
It's not fair that it's going to get paired against our next one.
Okay, what's that?
Which is a repeat offender, I call them. It is I'll always know what you did last summer. Now.
I'll always know what you did last summer now?
No. Now. This came out in 2006.
Yeah. More like 2000 and bricks, because I want to shit bricks.
Yeah?
This movie has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
0%.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it.
And I feel like a lot of that's just due to there aren't very many reviews. I thought there's 6 reviews of this movie.
I can't believe it. 0.
0. I'm ready to rank these movies.
Yeah.
This movie's garbage. It's awful.
We spent a whole episode talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer and its sequels.
Yeah.
Go back. Check it out.
Last season.
About why we fucking hate this movie. It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
No.
None of the characters return.
No.
You know, we take this like...
one character returns.
Oh, I guess. But none of the good characters return.
Right.
It takes place in Colorado, which is like halfway around the world, I feel like, from North Carolina, I think is what we settled on.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's I would almost say Boston. I know it's not Boston.
No, that was the thing. You thought it was Boston. I thought it was Maine. Turns out it wasn't. It was all North Carolina.
Great. We're getting ready to hash out this argument again.
Yeah.
I think it's Boston.
It's not.
Very whale mining.
I thought it was Maine.
Okay.
It's not. It's North Carolina.
It is
anyway,
not.
This movie takes place in Colorado.
There's no fisherman. I mean, there's one fisherman. Why? In Colorado.
These kids play this harmless prank.
Well.
And someone accidentally dies.
Yeah. And then, so they try to repeat the thing from the first movie where, do we go to the police? Do we tell them?
It's like,
tell them what?
It doesn't fucking matter. The kid's still dead.
You did nothing.
It was an accident.
Right. It's not like the first movie where they did something wrong.
Where they thought they did something wrong.
Right. And are trying to cover it up or hide it. This movie is literally, if they were to go to the police, it's like, hey, you know that accident that happened? It was still an accident, but we were doing a prank. And the police would go, move along, please.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you.
Don't do that again.
Right. I hope you've learned your lesson. But Ben Willis is over here being like, no, they haven't. I'm going after those kids.
Zombie motherfucking
oh my God.
Ben Willis.
From
the first 2 movies.
In a franchise that has nothing supernatural or paranormal about it, except for...
Well, I mean, he
kind of does. He moves
like
quick.
A Jason.
Kind of.
Yeah.
He's unkillable.
Apparently, he just knows when people are fucking lying and now just targets people. Because
he has no connection to these.
He's straight up dead.
Yeah. He's a zombie. And this isn't even
at the end of this movie, he gets thrown through a rototiller.
Yeah.
And chopped up on the other side. And at the very last sting, he's still fucking there.
And it's not even a good ender where it's like unique. It's just like she's driving, flat tire, she steps out of her car, and someone's behind him.
In the fucking desert.
What?
Wearing a rain slicker.
Where's the desert in Colorado?
I mean, kind of all over.
Okay, great. I thought it was just all woods, forest.
All mountains.
Mountains, yeah.
This movie sucks.
It's garbage, and the fact that again, it's like a franchise that you love, like Scream. Remember Scream, and then Scream 3 was terrible.
This is so much worse than that.
Yeah, how can a movie that's so good spawn a movie that's so bad?
Happens.
I say this one wins the worst movie.
I agree.
It's so
this
bad.
and The Gallows.
Yeah, The Gallows is good, and this movie's garbage. So
I never want to watch this movie again.
If I never have to, I would be thrilled.
I will watch I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, the second one, because it's not a terrible movie. It's not as good as the first one. But I make
fun of it the entire time.
Yeah.
But this is just garbage.
It's an awful excuse for a film. It sucks. I do think that 0% is a little too high compared to what we have coming up. I mean, a little too low, rather.
Yeah.
Because at least...
Oh, yeah.
At least it's a movie. So let's talk about...
So hold on.
Oh,
Round
right.
3
Yep.
goes to I'll always know what you did last summer.
We're not going to bother getting the name of the movie right because they didn't bother getting the movie right. Yeah.
There's no reason for it to be this long.
Movies need to be one syllable name long.
Yeah.
Scream.
Okay. Our prelim round 4.
Yes, I'm ready.
The first movie that we're going to talk about.
Lay it on me.
is...
Say it, Jody.
Is Orgy of the Dead.
Orgy of the Dead. What music they make. And there is music.
This is our oldest movie for worst horror movies today.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not the oldest movie we talked about.
No.
We're talking about Nosferatu.
No, but I'm saying this is of the worst horror movies for 2021.
Uh-huh.
This is the oldest. 1965. This also 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And I think the reason for that is that this isn't a movie.
No.
Like, this isn't a movie.
No.
It's almost like a burlesque show.
Yeah.
It's almost just like the mildest porn, almost.
Yeah. Erotica.
Erotic, yeah. Because, so... I want to read you a description.
First of all, we saw this on many lists, and I was like, "Ooh, that name grabs."
Yeah, sure does. What's an orgy?
I assume an orgy.
I've heard
is where like a lot of people come together and have sex together.
Okay, so if no sex happens and there's only ever like one character on screen at a time, can it be called an orgy? I question that.
I say it can because there are lots of naked women in this movie.
They're like one after the other.
Right. But there's lots of them.
All right. There are a lot.
Let's get into it.
I want to read.
This movie starts out good. Go ahead.
It starts out.
It starts out like it's going to be good.
Okay. I just want to read the top of the description, the plot from Wikipedia for this movie. This film has little to no storyline. About 70 minutes of the film's running time features topless female dancers without any dialogue.
Straight up.
So that's what you're in for.
Yeah, we did not read that when we
before we started
put it
watching
on.
it.
Yeah. So it starts.
Yeah.
These guys, they go into this grave.
These shirtless guys
take off the top to this coffin, and this guy sits up and he's like, "I am Criswell."
I have to talk about Criswell.
Criswell's pretty cool.
Criswell is a guy.
Badass.
Huh?
He's pretty badass.
He's pretty bad. Well, he is a real life psychic, real world psychic from this time period. Who, again, from Wikipedia.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes, this is his real name is Criswell. Oh, it's his stage name.
Okay.
Like Elvira.
Okay.
He's like a real person.
Okay.
Was an American psychic known for wildly inaccurate predictions.
Man, I want a job like that.
I will say, I'm just one thing that I found from Wikipedia. His most famous prediction was he was on the Jack Paar program, and he predicted that JFK, famous American president, Democrat president, would not be running for re-election in 1964 because something was going to happen to him on November of 1963. He predicted.
So what was that, like his most accurate?
That was his most like well-known and biggest claim. But I just want to paint this picture of this guy Criswell. He's a real dude, a real psychic. Well, a real fake psychic. He
reminds me so much of like Danny Kaye.
Oh.
From like White Christmas and other stuff.
Yeah.
Just like that very over the top, very old style showsman.
Yeah. I was looking up so much detail about this movie because I was so baffled by it watching it.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah. So this guy...
First of all, this is not a horror movie.
I mean, no. It uses like gothic aesthetics. It takes place in a graveyard.
Yeah. We have like this boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah. Brad and Janet.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. But it's Shirley and Rod.
Rod. And
I don't think it's Rod.
Well, it's something. He has... Rod is from our next movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Spoilers. He has the weirdest looking face.
Yeah.
He looks like...
I want to talk about her hair.
She's wearing a wig. And it's because you won't recognize her because she's also one of the dancers, the actor.
Yeah. They double dipped.
So Criswell wears glasses or contacts, but not in this movie. So he's reading all of his lines off cue cards in this movie, and he's having a hard time reading them. So you can see him like glance down and like try to read the cue cards and then say his line, which is why he talks in such a stilted way throughout the whole movie.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry, I just found out so much stuff about this movie that I just have to talk about. A lot of people have criticize this movie for having very boring dancing because like the whole thing is just these dances.
Yeah.
And they're not good. They're just kind of people.
No, they're not even like burlesque. They're not. They're nothing.
The reason that this has happened is because the original choreographer was fired.
You don't say.
Like at the beginning of production of this movie.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of had to just kind of do stuff.
I literally think, okay, so here's the whole premise of the movie.
Yeah.
This boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yep.
They're on their way to a cemetery.
Because he's a horror writer and he needs inspiration.
Right, and he needs some inspiration. They get in a car accident.
Yep.
They are thrown from their vehicle.
They're lying perfectly next to each other.
No scratches.
No scratches.
They stumble upon this like night sacrifice.
Yeah.
Criswell's there.
And
then he calls upon his princess of the night.
Yeah.
Which is straight up Elvira.
Basically Elvira.
Nobody will convince me otherwise.
This is another like character, like real person character. Vampira is her name.
Is it?
Yeah, and I think like she's...
Oh, I feel so bad not doing all this research now. You all know I love vampires.
You do. Yeah.
I do love Elvira.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So they just keep having these vignettes of women come out. They each have their little shtick. There's a indigenous person.
Yeah, it's not very sensitive.
It's not. We then have this like Jessica Rabbit type girl.
Yeah, almost.
And then we have this gold dancer who is Shirley.
Yeah.
Who's the girlfriend.
Right.
From before.
Yeah, and this is like a straight up they literally like got the idea for this from Austin Powers. James Bond. The woman who's like
we then have like a cat girl. Yep. We have a slave girl. We have a matador, a Hawaiian. We have a bride. We have a zombie.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Do I have anything written on the other side? No, I don't.
I made a joke that there's 13 ghosts.
Yeah. Because they each have like a little story and a little shtick. They come out. We timed like how quickly each one of them got topless.
Yeah.
Some of them were like almost instant.
But you never see
them take their clothes off.
Right. It's just it cuts to somebody else like looking, and then when it cuts back, they're just topless.
And it's just like an hour and a half of just dancing. Not good dancing. Stupid music with nobody talking.
Very repetitive music.
And like in between each thing, like apparently Vampira is like, I want to kill the girl. They like capture the boyfriend and the girlfriend.
Yeah, and then tie him up and make them watch, which it's just kind of there to have a plot just so it can be a movie, I guess.
She's like, I want to kill her. And the guy's like, no, I must enjoy my pleasures, Criswell.
Yeah.
Is like, and
I
she's
hate
like,
how
but what
much
about
they use
my
the word pleasures in this movie. So gross.
Like, but the moon is almost gone. And
he's like, I don't care. I want to watch him dance.
And so it finally comes down to it. Vampira gets to kill Shirley. And she dies.
Yeah, but they're too late. The sun comes up and they all die.
Up.
And it just cuts to them all and they're all skeletons. But it might have all been a dream. Who cares? It's garbage. It's not a movie.
It's not a horror movie, that's for sure. Because I wasn't scared.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it's hard to kind of rank this one in terms of
It's just crazy. Did people actually go and see this?
Well, they didn't have porn. They didn't have the internet, so they didn't have porn. So yeah, you had to. You had to.
Wild.
Yeah. Well,
I'm seriously just like so blown away. I think it's really cool that like there were actual people like Criswell and Vampira.
Cool is a word for it, I guess.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I like all that old shit.
Yeah.
I like old movies.
Right.
And I feel like old movies can be bad because they didn't know any better.
Right. They didn't have
like
Star Wars
us
then.
like judging Nosferatu.
Well,
you can't.
Right.
Because it's old and it's all they had.
I mean, Psycho came out 5 years before this movie.
That's true. That's true.
We won't really get into it too much. So we have to move on.
Any naked people in Psycho. Actually, there was.
Take that back. That's true. But you didn't see anything explicit.
No.
We could talk about this movie for hours.
We could.
There's
no reason to. It would be the same thing.
Let's talk about a movie that we could also talk about for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Listen, I didn't know.
Yeah. How could you?
That this movie was what it was.
Yeah.
You've talked about for years.
Yeah.
You're like, one of these years for worst horror movies, we're going to have to talk about Birdemic.
Birdemic,
Shock and Terror.
Okay. A movie which features neither shock nor terror.
No, but it came out in 2010.
Surprise,
the year
surprise.
I graduated.
Yeah.
And has an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's far too high.
I can't believe it.
Switch Orgy of the Dead for 18% and this with 0.
Seriously.
So this movie, The Room. Let's talk about The Room.
Okay.
The Room is a classic terrible movie. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's a classic bad movie.
I think The Room is what made So Bad It's Good.
Yep.
A thing.
Absolutely, I agree. That movie is, and I say this with no hint of irony, without any kind of like winking or being like whatever, that movie is better than Birdemic.
I've never seen The Room, so
right, you've never seen it. But I was shocked because The Room, it was like the worst movie I've ever seen until I saw this, and I was like, how did they top The Room in terms of awfulness? Just pure off. I told you this when we were watching the movie. I couldn't make anything this bad if I tried.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I took a video production class my senior year in high school, 2009.
So before this movie came out.
And the shit I put out in that class is a million times better than this movie.
Yeah.
I have submitted, with the help of you.
For the approval of the Midnight Society.
Right. And we will post it.
Yes.
I had to do, when I was in my program for school, a infection control video.
Oh, boy.
Now, of course, me being the theatrical person I am and the special effects artist that I am.
Yeah. Clever Girl FX.
Yeah. I was like, oh, we're going to do it to where we have a zombie come into the dental office and why PPE and infection control is so important.
This was years before COVID, by the way.
Yeah. We made that video, and that video is a million times better than Birdemic.
Yeah.
That video has won us $200.
Right. Which is
has won 2 awards.
Which $200, about the budget of this Birdemic movie.
Yeah.
I'd say. So this movie is awful in all the right ways.
Yeah.
It is so much fun. I literally have more notes on Birdemic than I do on combined all the rest of these movies. Legitimately, I do. Like more than half of my notes for this is for this movie.
I didn't know that this was a cult classic.
Yeah.
And the first image I saw, because we were looking up lists, and the first image I saw from it, I was like, no, this can't be real.
This can't be real. It simply can't be real. It's real.
Like, who put this out? And I asked you, I'm like, did this have a theatrical release? It turns out it didn't. It was like YouTube. It went out on YouTube.
Well, it was initially, it was released on YouTube, and I don't know why it's like regarded as a real movie, because it isn't.
I know.
But this movie is special, and really it's hard to talk about because we could be here all day. If we chose anything to talk about, we would be giving up so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Some standout scenes, though. Just my very first note is the sound exclamation point.
Oh, the sound is terrible.
Because the sound is awful. One thing,
go ahead.
Half the time you can't hear what the characters are saying.
No.
They're mumbling, the music's too loud, the sound effects are too loud. The ambient noise is too loud.
But then, when nobody's talking and they're in a public place, they then turn off all the sound.
Yeah, it cuts. So you hear nothing until they start speaking, and then goes,
and then you hear all the background noise again.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm pretty sure this movie was filmed in a way where you aimed the camera, turned it on, had a character say a line, turned the camera off, not cut, turned the camera off, switched it to another actor, started it, they said the next line, and then it went back and forth like that. As opposed to a normal movie where it's all filmed at once, then they're all filmed at once, then you cut it together. They didn't do any of that. There was no editing in this movie.
There's a lot not in this movie.
There's a lot not in this movie.
My first note that I have wrote down is drive fucking faster and walk fucking faster.
Yeah.
The whole first hour of this hour and a half movie is literally like character driving, gets to a place, walk in, maybe a 2-second scene happens, walk out, get in the car, drive away, establishing shot, driving there, getting out of the car. It's seriously, it's so
it really is.
Painful.
It's awful. It's so
painful to watch.
So, this movie feels like it was made by aliens who are trying to blend in and prove how human they are and be like, no, I'm human. Watch, I understand movies like this movie, but they're aliens. Jody, this movie feels like it was made by someone who's never seen a movie, only had movies described to them.
Yeah.
And they're making one. Jody, this movie feels like... This movie feels like...
Is this your stand-up?
Yes. This movie feels like the actors and crew were just like going off and like leaving their wives for a while. And then their wives are like, what were you doing all this time?
And they had to throw something
And they had
together.
To make something up to justify.
Absolutely.
Because this
your
movie...
dad like could be like, this is what I've been working on.
Right. And just push it in front of it.
Yeah.
Don't look too hard at it. It is so bad. It's absurd.
The list of things.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about all day. The things I want to talk about are at one point, he is not talking into a phone. Our main character, Rod.
Yes. This is great.
He's not talking into a phone.
No.
Now, this is 2010. I fucking know what phones look like.
Yep.
And this guy is talking into an iPod.
An iPod.
Now,
like an iPod
I know
Shuffle.
we had... It wasn't an iPod
Sorry,
Shuffle.
an iPod Touch.
I don't even know. But it's an iPod.
Yeah.
And I know we had like text features on iPods back in the day, but you could not talk on them.
I don't think they had a phone app.
No.
Or at least it didn't work. So this was a joke. Yeah. And this is the scene where it keeps cutting between them, but not cutting between them, fading between them.
Oh, yeah, fading.
There's
Harder
a lot
than
of fades.
Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many fades in this movie. You keep thinking scenes are over, but it's just fading to the next shot and then back and then back and then back. It never ends.
I want to talk about, what is it, Natalie? She's the lead girl. Yes, it's Natalie. I want to talk about her dirty fucking feet in the hotel room scene.
Yeah, there's a scene
where they're like having relations for the first time. And they pan down to their feet, and her feet are fucking black on the bottom.
Filthy. Why?
They're so dirty.
Wash your feet, girl.
I know you were walking on the beach, but you had your shoes on.
Yeah, what happened? I will say that the one thing that this movie knows not to do is like a sex scene. This is where
Thank God.
This is where it differs from The Room. Is there is not an uncomfortable sex scene.
Yeah, no.
With actual nudity in this movie.
It's very nice that it pans down.
Right, for sure. Another standout are the movie grinds to a halt to have just these monologues.
Oh, that's what I wrote down. Okay, so the first hour of this movie is this guy, Rod. He works for this company that's like transferring everything over to solar power. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
He meets this girl, Natalie. He used to go to high school with, had a big crush on her. They start dating.
Yeah, she's a Victoria's Secret
model. And that's the whole first fucking hour.
Literally the first half of this movie. We literally kept making jokes about when will the bird show up. It was halfway through the movie.
And it changed on a dime.
Abruptly. Like, with the sex. This is why you don't have sex.
This is why you don't have sex. They went to the hotel. They wake up. The whole world is set on fire.
Yep.
These birds are attacking.
Birds are attacking. Jody, they're attacking. They are dive bombing into things and exploding and making jet engine sounds. Oh my God.
And so like every time I'm like, nope, I'm over this movie. This doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It's terrible.
It stops. We have a scientist come on, or it stops and we have a weird guy in the woods come on and talk about what? Global warming.
Climate change. And they're like,
and it brings me back in. I'm like, fuck yes, this is what's happening.
Not only that, we kept seeing scenes of like, there would be like pumpkins.
Oh, that too.
And Jody'd be
so
like,
many pumpkins.
I'm back in.
I know, I'd be like, I'm so bored. And then the next scene would have pumpkins and I'd be like, all right, I'm back in.
You won me over.
Yeah.
So good. It's so funny. But yeah, and they meet up with this other couple, Ramsey and Becky, who I made a joke.
Ramsey rams his gun up every bird's ass.
That's for sure. He's a very gunny character. I made a joke that this was Keith from the Try Guys. And
dude, it's straight. I almost thought it was.
He looks just like him, and he's dating a Becky, which that's fun.
Because his wife's named
Becky.
No, but like we had to pause it, and I had to look it up because I was like, this could be.
It could be. You don't know. You don't know.
But it could have been.
And he dies because he shoots at a bird that's flying at him and some other people that he saved from a bus, which they could have just driven away on the bus.
Those people didn't want to get saved in the bus.
No, they were hesitant.
He like had to shove guns in their faces.
He killed these people.
He did, because he shot this bird and all this like orange liquid came out.
Yeah, what was this? Was it blood? Was it urine?
I don't know if it's infection, and killed them all.
It was like acid, and they like melted. They melted because they fell on the ground and laid there.
But they nicely fell on the ground.
Yeah, they slowly laid down. This movie is a joke. It's great.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it.
This might be my favorite movie of all time.
No.
I had such a great time. Legitimately, I had a huge smile on my face watching this movie.
I had a good time.
This was a lot of fun.
Mainly the bar scene when the poor guy is singing karaoke and he's having ourselves a party.
Yeah. And there's just so much that
for like 5 minutes.
And so the first half of the movie is the romance plot, and it doesn't make any sense. Then there's like these interstitials within it that don't need to go anywhere. Like when the solar panel salesman shows up at his house and it's like, I'm going to install a solar panel. I'm going to show you where it goes. They walk the full pace. They show every detail, every step, every character steps in this movie. You see the whole map of where they go. But they step outside and they point, and there's a close up on a shot of the roof. It's going to go right there.
It's going to be $20,000.
It's going to be $20,000.
Okay, I'll buy it.
Oh, well, hold on. That's a little steep for my blood. What can you do for me? You know what? For you, limited time offer, $19,000.
Legit. These are actual lines, and we're giving more inflection than these actors did.
So
I give it to Natalie. She tried really hard. I believed her most.
I actually felt really bad for her because she was an actor. She was acting in this movie. She was doing it. Everybody else was like, they knew what movie they were in. We watched
an interview with the lead guy who plays Rod, and he was like, I didn't know what this movie was going to be. He's like, there was crew for like the first week, and then they were gone. Yeah, he's like, I like slept in my car.
Yeah. And it sounds like a miserable shoot.
And like, good for him
for sticking with it.
Sticking with it. Yeah. And it's now become like this cult classic. They made a second one.
They did. We haven't seen that. Maybe next year.
Maybe. And like the guy's like, he can't really say anything bad about this first one because the second one, let him travel the world and meet fans that love and laugh at this movie and stuff, which
it's heartwarming.
That's awesome. If something bad is going to happen to you like this, you might as well at least have this reaction from it.
Right. Get a bunch of stuff out of it like that. Yeah. So we could legitimately have like many episodes devoted to just this movie, and I would love to do that.
Maybe when we do cult classics, we can bring it up again.
Oh, I would love to. I would love nothing more than to do that. But we have to rank it against Orgy of the Dead.
I don't know how we're going to do this.
I mean, I think we have to give it to Birdemic just because of two reasons. One, it's Birdemic. Jody.
That's true. This is called
Jody,
worst
the birds.
Horror movie.
Yeah, the birds, the way the birds looked. Oh, by the way.
we didn't even mention the birds.
Speaking of the birds, which we talked about again last season, so the end credits of this movie list Miss Tippi Hedren, footage from Julie and Jack. Now, Tippi Hedren is obviously the star of The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Yes.
The Burge.
The Burge.
And I had found
Melanie Daniels. Yes.
I had seen this on IMDb and I was excited. I was like, ooh, I can't believe she's in this movie. We're going to look out for her. It'll be like a cameo, right? Nope. Didn't see her throughout the whole movie. I looked this up. The director of this movie made another movie before this called Julie and Jack, which she was in.
Oh.
And there's a scene where on the background, the TV is playing that movie.
Oh, fuck that.
So she's not even in the movie.
Okay, Frank Oz. That's like Frank Oz and American Werewolf in London.
What?
Where like the Muppets are playing on the TV.
Oh.
Even though Frank Oz is in that movie.
Well, to be fair, that happens in a lot of movies. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So that is where she comes into this movie. So I'm angry about that they lied to us.
Straight up lied.
So we have to give it to Birdemic. I mean, and Orgy of the Dead, it's not a movie. It's not a horror movie. So we have to get, I think we have to give it to Birdemic.
I want to fight harder for Orgy of the Dead.
Yeah.
Because now that I know that Vampira's in it, I want to fight a little harder.
Sure. Well, go ahead.
No, I don't. I'm tired.
I can't. Yeah. So
Birdemic wins.
Yeah. It can't not. All right. Cool.
Well, that was our prelims.
Yep. That was our round 1. Tune in for episode 2.
No.
We're doing it now?
No, this is not YouTube, and we only have 15-minute episodes.
Yeah, we can make this as long as we want.
All right. So remember back to the beginning of this episode? Do you remember? Those were good times.
Before
we talked about Birdemic, before we talked about Slender Man.
Those bad movies?
Yeah. Okay. From round 1, American Werewolf in Paris.
That's what we went with?
That's what we went with. That versus Anaconda.
Are we married to that?
Yeah.
Can we go back to Anaconda?
No.
Okay.
No.
American Werewolf in Paris versus?
Versus Smiley.
Smiley wins. I can't tell you how furious I am at this movie. I hate that I saw it. There's very few movies that I regret seeing, and Smiley is a movie that I regret seeing. It just makes me so angry to look at and to see. Even all right, fine. We'll put Shane Dawson aside. I hate him so much. We'll forget he's in the movie. Even that aside, it's still just start to finish. There's nothing redeemable about this movie. There's nothing good about this movie except Roger Bart and Paris from Gilmore Girls. And Keith David is in the movie as a cop.
Keith David's in it.
Yeah, he's good too. Jody.
But American Werewolf in Paris is so boring.
It's boring, but at least stuff is happening.
No, that's the opposite. It's boring because like nothing makes sense and nothing is happening and nothing is interesting.
Here's the thing. Everything that you saw in American Werewolf in Paris happened. In Smiley, half of the movie was a hallucination. And it was a ripoff of 2 of your favorite movies of all time. Scream and Candyman, which you love Candyman, right?
Never seen it.
Okay, great.
But I know what it's about. Don't get at me. I pace myself with horror movies. I don't binge them.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about Candyman.
I really want to fight harder with you.
Oh boy.
Just because I think American Werewolf in Paris was really bad.
It was really bad. Do you remember watching Smiley?
Yes.
Okay.
I just remember you just seething next to me.
Jody, I feel hot thinking about this. Thank you. I might have to put my foot down on this one because I really, really think Smiley's among the worst movies I've ever seen.
We'll let you put your foot down because I don't want to fight that hard.
All right. But do you actually think that...
No, I understand. It's just so hard. The CGI
the CGI
is so bad.
Terrible, yeah.
I'm really disappointed.
Yeah. I will say no bad CGI in Smiley.
I think that's what I'm saying is like at least it's a movie that looks good.
Well, I want to give it to Smiley.
I agree. We can give it to Smiley.
That movie makes me so angry to think about. I almost want to just get rid of it so I never have to think about it again. All right.
Next, these are semifinals here. Mm-hmm. We have I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer versus Birdemic.
Oh boy. So this is a classic Jaws 4 versus Troll 2 situation from season 1.
Right.
Because you have a movie that sucks and isn't fun to watch versus a movie that sucks but is a great time to watch.
Right.
I'm going to say Birdemic again.
Oh, God.
Because it's Birdemic, Jody. It's Birdemic, shock and terror.
I truly have never seen anything like Birdemic.
Yeah. You haven't.
I haven't. And I unfortunately have seen things like
I'll
always know what you did last summer.
And that movie isn't even like, it's not doing anything unique. It's literally it's recycling.
It's just
stuff
chewing up and spitting out the same shit.
Yeah.
But it's shit.
Right.
Ew.
Yeah. But I mean, Birdemic is so special. You have the scene where the thief says, "I'm going to steal some gas from you." So
oh my god!
Actually, what he says is he takes out a gun and he says,
like, "You're going to sell me
some gas."
Some gas.
And he takes it. I don't think he ever does pay for it, which rude. And he gets his immediate comeuppance by a bird coming through and slashing his throat.
And it takes him like 10 minutes to
die.
He
falls to the ground.
And then that motherfucker Rod just drives off and doesn't even pick up the gas.
He jumps in the car and leaves the tank. Birdemic wins. It has to. It has to take the spot.
All right, between I'll always know what you did last summer and Birdemic.
Oh boy.
Birdemic wins.
It has to. Oh boy. All right.
I'm excited now. I didn't really think this was how this was going to go at all.
Oh no.
You're going to have to decide.
No.
Between Smiley.
No, Jody.
And Birdemic.
Why would you do this to me?
Now, talk about a troll versus Jaws 4.
Oh,
this is a Trolls versus Jaws 4.
Oh, God.
And every year, we flip-flop on these rules.
Yeah.
Of what deems it a worst horror movie. It's something that, like, you never want to watch again, or something it's so bad it's good.
Right. Is it so bad, like, if you would rather not have seen the movie versus do you want to watch it right now because it's the greatest movie ever because it's so bad?
Yeah.
And this really is the eternal question. And it's what it's going to boil down to, because Smiley is a movie that it's a bad movie and I hate watching it and there's nothing fun about it at all. It's not a good movie. Birdemic is like if you were to pull if a toddler saw a movie and you were to like pull its memories of that movie out.
Oh my God.
It would be better than Birdemic because it's not put together the way a movie is put together. It doesn't look like what a movie looks like. The same is true for Smiley, but a lot less so in Smiley's case. So, I mean, it's just ultimately does come down to this, like,
you're getting so frustrated.
I don't because I hate Smiley so much. I want to give it the number one spot.
I know you do.
But
we're not going to.
We can't.
Because I've never seen anything like Birdemic.
Is special. It is.
It's unfair to say.
Yeah.
That when I saw the very first clip of like the birds.
Yeah, the birds which hover in front of everything.
Yeah, I immediately went, oh shit, this is going to win. Yeah. I immediately said it. Like,
and how could it not? I mean, it's Birdemic. I want to give it to Smiley so bad, but I just can't.
We're not going to.
Birdemic just wins. I mean, it wins.
Right.
It's Birdemic. Jody, it's Birdemic.
Right.
And this way, I don't have to think about Smiley anymore. So good. Wipe that movie off the face of the earth. I hate Smiley so much.
It's okay. You hated Jaws 4 too.
But that movie was boring. Smiley's boring too. Yeah. Okay. So Birdemic wins.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Could you see it coming from a mile away?
Jody, they use the same repeated like stock footage of the birds falling.
It was so funny.
Every time they shoot a bird. And then it falls straight down. We started laughing. Oh, well, we were laughing for minute one, but it was so funny. It was so funny. I love that movie. I want to watch it again. I just keep saying it's like nothing I've ever seen before. Yeah. And I will say The Room, it is like The Room. It's not dissimilar to The Room, but The Room, I don't know how they did it. The Room is better. The Room, a famously terrible movie, is more structurally sound than Birdemic. 7 goddamn years later, Jody. Okay. You're getting too wild up. Okay. Well, next year we'll compare The Room to Birdemic, and then we'll see. Oh, then we'll really have a talk, won't we? Well, we did it. We made it through another year of worst horror movies. After last year and the bullshit we went through with Tusk. Oh, yeah. I was absolutely dreading these movies. Yeah. I had a pretty good time watching these movies. Were I'm not going to say not as bad because Smiley is among the worst movies. No, these were terrible movies. But I think back to season 1 and I'm like, these movies aren't even bad. Right. I would marathon all of those movies before I watch these. But yeah, we had a lot better time watching these ones. We got angrier. Or
you
I
got
did.
angrier.
I hate
I didn't get
Smiley.
angry at all.
Good. Except for doing this episode.
I didn't even get that angry.
Great.
Listeners will attest to how angry I was at Tusk.
Yeah, that's for sure. You were irate.
I
You
was.
wanted to quit the show.
I almost did.
Just so that you didn't have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been What Makes It Scary. I'm not going to go into
We don't
what
need
makes
to
it scary.
what's scary is that these movies are a thing.
Yeah. The fact that Birdemic has a sequel and a third movie is in the works.
I believe it.
Yeah. So that's pretty scary. But what can you do?
Just you better hope that Smiley never rears its head again.
Oh boy. I hope he does. I hope Smiley kills me. If I can forget having seen Smiley through any means.
That's how I feel about Tusk.
Yeah. Well,
We might have to bring Tusk up again.
we might have to in some
It
capacity.
might have to be a repeat offender.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
We'll see, won't we?
We shall see.
But we won't be talking about that next week.
Oh.
We will be talking about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein
Yes.
and other Frankensteins
Yes.
as well.
Frankenstein
We're
movies.
bringing up the big old bad monster
That's right.
and the monster he creates.
Yeah, we talked 2 episodes ago about sci-fi horror, and this is pretty sci-fi horror as well. We talked about it with aliens, the idea of reconstructing a body. We'll get into it next week.
Zombies. This kind of all rolls into one.
Yeah. And this episode was a Frankenstein's monster
Of
of
bad
other
movies.
bad movies. So it's
There's your segue.
yeah, there you go. God damn it.
Oh my gosh, get some sleep, people.
I need some for sure.
If you want to tweet at me your favorite worst horror movie or what you like about Frankenstein, the story, you can tweet at me at clevergirl, the letter F and the letter X.
That's for sure. If you want to tweet at me, I started a new Twitter. It's called I Hate Smiley 69.
Does it have a winky face next to it?
It does, yeah. Which you can't really put in a Twitter handle, but I figured it out. No, it's at Mr. Red Plays. Mr. is always spelled out the long way. Let me know what movies you hate more than Smiley. I bet it's none.
I bet it is.
Okay.
If you want to tweet the show, you can tweet it at Makes It Scary. We love hearing from you.
Absolutely.
We love when you share the show. We appreciate it so much. We've gotten a lot of traction.
leave reviews.
Yeah.
Hey, leave some 5-star reviews. Hey, leave some 5-star reviews. Hey.
Do it.
That'd be helpful. That's literally how podcasts grow is 5-star reviews, because that's how iTunes knows to share it and recommend it to people. So leave some reviews, and we'll be back at you next week like Cleopatra next week.
What the fuck? What the fuck does that even mean?
Back at you next week like Cleopatra next week is what
okay.
I'm losing it, Joe.
All right. Good night.